So I was actually looking through all of my content, like Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, etc. And I realized I've never actually explicitly said in one place why I am currently training at the firm that I'm currently training at. So pick up your popcorn, pick up your notepad, whatever, and let's get into the tea in this video. Before we get straight into it, please do make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Give me a follow on my Instagram, follow me on TikTok, connect with me on LinkedIn. Like, let's build this community. Let's all help each other. Okay, cool. So as most of you probably already know, I applied to the firm that I'm currently at a couple of times, was rejected a few times, and then eventually got onto the winter vac scheme, which was then converted into a TC. What some of you might not know is that around the same time that I had literally just gotten the TC offer from my firm, I also received a call from another firm that I'd applied to. Now, this firm, they don't do direct TC applications. You can only get a TC via their vacation scheme. I don't think they actually call it a vacation scheme, but it's the equivalent of a vacation scheme, right? And that's the only way you can get a TC. So I had applied for that vacation scheme, and they got back to me and they said, yeah, I've got the vacation scheme. And then I found out that I had the TC offer from my firm. So I called them and I was just like, look, I've got this TC offer. To be honest, I quite like this firm, so I'm probably going to take the TC offer, kind of thing. And that was my way of just being like, yeah, I'm probably not going to take this vacation scheme, just to be courteous, just to let them know. Cool. Then someone called me back from that firm like a day later and was just like, look, we understand that you've got a TC offer from another firm that you really like. We know that we can't obviously offer you a TC offer right now because that's not how we do things. We only recruit via our VAC scheme, but we're really, really keen to have you. So we just want you to know that, you know, we'd really be happy to kind of have you having a TC off the back of your summer scheme. So that put me in a position where I kind of had to choose, in the sense of, you know, yes, I've already got a TC, but there's also this other firm who are saying they want me. What is it about the firm that I'm currently at that is going to make me want to stay there? Do you get what I mean? So that's when I really sat down and had to think, like, what exactly do I love about this firm? Maybe love is a strong word, but what exactly do I like about this firm that is going to make me want to train there? And the kind of things that came to mind for me personally were a couple of things. So first thing was the work. I don't even actually know, I do know where this came from. The first time I met the firm that I'm currently training at, it was at a presentation. I was part of Rare Recruitment and they took us around to a whole bunch of different city firms and we got to see, you know, different presentations from different practice areas. And this presentation was a project finance presentation. And the associate at the time, I believe he's a partner now, but at the time he was an associate, and he kind of just talked us through a random deal that he had kind of took the lead on. And the deal just sounded so interesting. This deal was in Nigeria. I don't actually remember all of the contents of the deal, but I just remember that when he was kind of explaining, you know, what it was like and the kind of work that he did and why he was passionate about it, because he was also a Nigerian, I just thought, wow, like, this is super cool. And the fact that this is a firm that, you know, this is not like the first time they've done a deal like that in West Africa. They do a lot of deals like that. They're known for being good at deals like that. So for me, I was just kind of like, these are the kind of deals that I would want to do. And it makes sense to train at a firm that is already well known for those types of deals, because you're more likely to be able to get in on those deals as a trainee. Whereas if you go to a firm that maybe does one or two of those deals but doesn't really do that many of them, chances are you're probably not going to be able to experience those deals as a trainee, right? So for me, that was quite important. So the first thing was definitely the type of work. The second thing for me that I really, really thought was important was the nature of the work, in the sense that my firm is really, truly international. And by truly international, I mean every time a deal closes in the different teams that I'm in, you normally get like an internal email that goes around saying, you know, the particular, and they'll list all the people who were in the deal team. We've just closed XYZ deal for XYZ client. It was worth this amount. We worked with the New York team, the Dubai team, and the Australian team, or something like that. And like, just talking about what the deal was about, right? And that literally happens like 3-4 times a week. Like, you see emails like that. That to me is just really interesting. I've always liked international things. I've always liked the global world. I love to travel, like in terms of in my free time as a hobby. I like finding out about other cultures. So I like the fact that the work is very international. And having done work experience at a firm which wasn't as international in terms of the work that they did, I definitely noticed a difference. And I felt that, you know, for me, it was important to, even though I hadn't done this summer VAC scheme at the firm, which wanted to offer me a TC at the end of the VAC scheme, I just personally felt like, look, I've tried the VAT scheme at the firm that I'm currently at. I know that their work is truly international, and that is super important for me. So I would rather just stay at a firm where I know I like the type of work and I like the nature of the work. So that was probably the second thing for me. The third thing that I probably thought about, I'm trying to think, what was the third thing? Because I was going to say salary, but then when I went back to check what the salaries was for the firm that I'm at and the firm that I could have been at, I think they were actually the same. So I don't think it was salary. I mean, I probably looked at it to just double check, like, would I get paid more here or there? But they were the same salary. So I don't think that would have been a decisive factor for me. But that's all just to say that, you know, maybe that's something you might want to check as well, just to see, because if there is quite a big difference, I kind of find that nowadays the salaries are pretty much all the same in the city. But if there's a very big difference, maybe that's something that you'd want to look at as well. Then it was just my experience with the people that I met. So at both of these firms, in the same way that I've mentioned a lot of times in previous videos, I'm the kind of person who, when I go to networking events, I will try and speak to people at these firms to try and learn a bit more about the culture. And also on LinkedIn, I'll reach out to people at these firms and stuff like that, right? So at the firm that I'm currently at, literally everybody that I spoke to, from greeting the receptionist when I went to interviews, from grad recruitment when I met them at law fairs, from the partners who interviewed me, I just liked everybody's vibe. Everybody literally just seemed like a decent human being, and also very intelligent, but at the end of the day, just a decent human being. And that's something that's really, really important to me, because I am a human being. Do you get what I mean? Like, this is not to say that I didn't feel like people were nice at the firm that I didn't end up going to, but it's just that for me, sometimes, you know, if it ain't broke, I don't really know why I should try and fix it. Because I already had an experience at the firm that I'm currently at and I knew that I liked it, I didn't necessarily want to go and now experience another firm and then maybe find out that I don't like it and then now I'm stuck in the mud, kind of thing. So there was that for me as well. Like, the culture was really, really important. And I think because I had worked out that I quite liked the culture at that time, it was important for me to just stick with that. I didn't want to go and try something else and then find out that I didn't like it. So there was that. Now, the kind of secondary things, which you don't always find online, but are actually also quite important, so I'm going to share it with you to just be completely real and be completely honest. It was to do with diversity, and it was just to do with representation, in the sense that, so when I went to meet the firm the first time on RARE, now obviously RARE is a social mobility kind of organisation, so in all fairness, the volunteers who help with RARE are likely going to be from, you know, social mobility backgrounds, right? So I'm not blind to that fact. However, the fact that I saw associates or like trainees who are Black young women like myself honestly just made me feel like, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. I'll keep it $1.50. It really did make me feel like that. And they didn't seem like they were there because they were just asked to be there because they were Black associates or Black trainees. It seemed like they genuinely wanted to come and be there and share what they were doing with us. That was the sense that I personally got from them. So that was really, really important for me. And the other firm that I, you know, got the summer vacation scheme at, I had met them at other intervals as well. Like, I'd gone to some networking events and stuff like that. And everyone I spoke to was fairly nice. And I definitely know that there are Black people at that firm, in all fairness. I'm not at all saying there are no Black people at that firm, but I didn't get that same impression. And for me, that was quite important. And it's a difficult thing to articulate, because you won't, I think sometimes you just have to feel it. It's kind of like a gut feeling, right? And I just had that gut feeling with the firm that I'm at. So that was that for me, and there wasn't really any more to it to be said. Then kind of subsidiary things, which were things that I had spoken about in my application. So in terms of why I actually bothered to apply to the firm to begin with, things like the guaranteed international secondment. Like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, right? Internationalism, globalism, that's always been very important to me. I've always loved to travel. I've always loved to learn about new cultures. I've always loved to see the world. So that guaranteed international secondment, like, you don't have to tell me twice that you're going to send me to another country for 6 months. I am ready. My bags are packed. When do you need me to go? That was definitely a really, really big selling factor for me, right? And I think if you are someone who, you know, maybe you grew up in a different country and you can speak a few languages, etc., there's no harm in pointing out that, yeah, you like the fact that there's a guaranteed international secondment because you like international things. Like, that's okay. You might actually be doing yourself, because I do actually have people ask me like, oh, but if everybody talks about the international secondment, then shouldn't I try and stand out by not talking about it? And to that, I would say, bearing in mind that I'm not HR, so don't take my word as gospel, but to that, I would say, if a firm is known for a particular thing, and you don't mention that particular thing that the firm is known for, you have to understand that on the end of the person who is reading your application, it kind of looks like you don't know the firm, because it's like, why didn't you speak about the thing that the firm is well known for, if that makes sense? So I do understand the premise of, you know, wanting to stand out. And my answer to that is that so long as your application is tailored and it's personal, i.e. it's about yourself, you will always stand out because nobody else is you. So that shouldn't be an issue. But I do think you should speak about things that firms are well known for. So for me, that guaranteed international secondment was amazing. And I definitely was very, very happy to apply to a firm who had something like that. I think reputation as well, to be fair, that is something that has always been important to me, more in the back of my mind though. I don't think I was ever really able to articulate that I was definitely trying to apply to firms that had a, I guess, reputable name. And, you know, I think you could argue both sides to this, because I think at the end of the day, a firm is a firm. And so long as you get good training, you're going to become a good lawyer, like you'll be okay. I think for me, I was more kind of thinking of my future career prospects. So I was just kind of thinking, you know, whatever it is that I decide to do later on, like whether it be that I stay at my firm and I work my way up, or I move to another firm, or I leave the law, like whatever I decide to do, I personally feel like it's helpful to have a good CV behind you. And as well as having, you know, good skills elucidated on your CV and good experience, it does also help to have good names on your CV. Now, it's not always the be all and end all, because this is kind of similar to, I guess, the argument about like Russell Group versus non-Russell Group universities, for example, right? There's, you know, copious amounts of evidence to say that people who don't go to Russell Group University have equally great lives to those who do. So it doesn't mean that names are absolutely everything. I'm not at all saying that, but I think I did kind of recognize in the back of my mind that, especially as I'm a Black woman, you know, I've already kind of got 2 minority groups ticked off. I just didn't really want the hassle of not having a good name on my CV. I'm gonna keep it real and be honest with you. And those are things that I generally, just like I said, as a Black woman, these are things that I do tend to think about quite a lot. Like, you know, even when I was applying to uni, like I was just like, yeah, I could go somewhere where I know all my friends are and I'll feel a lot more comfortable, but actually also I want to get into, you know, a particular kind of industry, and it's honestly just going to be more helpful for me to go to a uni that has a really good name. So I'm going to work really hard to get into that type of uni, that sort of thing. So yeah, reputation for me was quite important, I'll be honest. But I think hindsight is 2020, and with the benefit of hindsight, I don't think it's a be all and end all. So if it's not that important to you, I wouldn't say worry about it, because I don't think you need to. I'm just being honest about myself and what I was thinking about at that time. So that is pretty much how and why I ended up at the firm that I'm currently training at. As you can see from the videos that I've released, I've done a 3-month review, I've done a 6-month review, I've done a 9-month review, I've done a 1-year review. So you can go and check out all of those videos to see how I'm finding training so far. But this is basically like the precursor to all of those videos, because I have so many people always asking, why are you at the firm that you're at? And long story short, I'm at that firm because I like the type of work they do. They don't only do emerging markets work, should I say, by the way, but they're quite good at emerging markets work, and I like emerging markets work. I like that it's truly international. Not every firm is, but I like that. I like the culture in terms of the fact that everyone I spoke to just seemed like a really decent, down-to-earth human being. Super important for me. I like the compensation, though I wouldn't mention that in an interview, nor would I write about it in an application, but that was just an internal point for myself. I like the diversity, and I liked how authentic it felt to me. It didn't really feel like it was a tick box exercise. It didn't feel like it was forced. And I like the reputation. It's a good firm. So why wouldn't I want to train there? Why wouldn't I want to be there? That is it for me. I hope that has been really helpful for you. If you like this kind of content, please do make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. Give me a follow on my Instagram, and I'll be back again soon with another video.